In the last stream, we were working on putting down even more of these miners, upgrading some of the miners that we already had, and setting up some basic automation using these newly available conveyor belts to get all of our smeltable ores into our almost fully upgraded jumbo furnace, and then from there round and into this draw controller to organize and automate the production of coal, tin, lapis, and copper. Now, what I've gone ahead and done between streams is I've added coal capstones to all of the miners to make them all just that little bit faster. You'll also notice in here that I have kind of put in a bunch of charcoal into the jumbo furnace. The reason for that is that it seems like the jumbo furnace always uses the first slot, so it's only using the coal, it's not using any of the charcoal. The trouble, though, that I ran into between streams, because this drawer isn't locked, if all of these slots are empty, what happens is all of the coal gets taken out and gets placed into here. When that happens, again, because this drawer isn't locked, this drawer is no longer designated to coal, and going forward, that could cause some issues. To solve that, all I did is I just took some charcoal and kind of distributed that between the remaining slots, and because it only takes from the top slot first, and because we are actually producing more coal than we're using, this seems to be backing up quite nicely, and is doing the job just fine. We've actually got quite a lot of lapis. We've got 470, we've got almost 100 copper, and we've got just over 100 tin, which is great. I've also done a little bit of organizational work. I got rid of a couple of the rogue chests and stuff that we had lying around previously, and I've kind of organized all of the stuff into this one chest, and I also took all of the tin and all of the copper fragments that we had, crafted those down with some stone, and threw them into the furnace, so all of that has been processed. The only thing that I've not upgraded, that chat is complaining at me for not upgrading, I haven't upgraded the capstones on my tree absorber, and so real quick, what I'm going to do, just at the start of the episode here, is grab 4 blocks of coal, and we'll quickly upgrade the tree absorber here, just to make it that little bit faster. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Nice. So that is now going to start coming in faster. One thing we should probably do is hook up the contents of this barrel to our storage drawer network, or at least get some storage drawers to start storing the leaves, apples, sticks, and logs, because as you'll see, we're very close here to filling up this barrel, at which point the tree absorber is kind of just going to stop working altogether. So what might not be a terrible idea here is for us to go back through to the basic research, and you can actually purchase these quests multiple times over. So we could buy more draw controllers if we wanted to. You can only have one draw controller per storage drawer system, so you can't put down multiple controllers in one system, but what you can do is you can get these draw controller slaves that kind of act like draw controllers in that you can pump items into them and pull items out of them. And so what I'm thinking here is if we were to go ahead and purchase one of these, we could then place this down over here. If we were to also steal one of our pre-existing wooden hoppers, we should then be able to essentially pump from this barrel into this draw controller slave, if we were to do something like this, and then if we used some more oak trim, like this stuff here, to connect that draw controller slave to our main draw controller, that would then allow all of the stuff inside of this barrel to be pumped into storage drawers that are connected to this draw controller. And so what I think I might do, I might actually go ahead and get another one of these draw controller slaves, because I think what we should do to make this look a lot nicer is kind of swap out this extracting conveyor belt here with a draw slave, much like we've done over there, and then move this draw controller maybe over here somewhere so we can have all of our resources in one centralized location, and then use draw controller slaves to kind of pump in all the different resources that we want to be able to access from around the base. So I'm not too worried about losing this, but never mind, it turns out we do have some dirt underneath the belt here, so that is perfect. And so basically what I'm thinking, if we put this here, it's also going to allow us to get rid of this horrible bit of oak trim that we've got here. We can then grab our draw controller, move that, let's say, all the way over to, we'll put it right at the back like that. Then we can grab our storage drawers, and we can move these as well. Later on in the pack, we do get the ability, well, already actually, I think we have the ability to make framed drawers. These framed drawers here allow you to kind of customize the look of the storage drawers to make them match the theme of your base. Right now, we don't really have much of a theme going on with the base because we've not unlocked the chipped mod. Chipped is over here. This is kind of like a chisel style mod that's going to allow us to customize the look of certain textures and make our base hopefully look a lot nicer. But although we can unlock it right now, it does require at least 1 iron to get started, and so we are going to have to first get iron before we can actually use chipped, so there's no point in us unlocking it just yet. But essentially what I'm thinking here is that we might be able to make framed trim. The framed trim works in exactly the same way in that we can kind of customize it to look how we like. We do already have access to oak trim, but I'm fairly certain that if we use the framed trim here, we should be able to change the texture of it to look like these oak slabs. Essentially, we make the frame trim, and we're going to need quite a bit of it. And then if we craft that with regular oak planks, we get framed trim that looks like oak planks. And essentially what that's going to allow us to do is break quite a lot of the floor here and run the trim along through the floor instead of having it run through the sky like this. And so here we have frame trim, here we have oak slabs, but they look identical. And so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of cut out a path that goes all the way around to the draw controller and all the way around to the tree absorber, and then we're going to run framed trim that looks like oak slabs between all of it. All right, so I've dug out all of the blocks that we're going to replace here. We are almost certainly going to need to get some more framed trim, because I don't think we quite have enough here to get to either location. The Twitch chat has also pointed out that I'm going to have to move the coal draw back, but this should keep working here. And we've also kind of gotten rid of the potential for items to spew out of the furnace, because now they go directly from the jumbo furnace into our storage drawers. They don't kind of hang around on conveyor belts at all, which is kind of perfect. What we can do here is we can go ahead and kind of just move this back. It's still going to look a little bit awkward, but if we do something like this and then put one more framed trim here, which we should be able to do if we get some more oak slabs, we can do this and this. And by that, I mean like this. You got to put it diagonally. Fantastic. If we put frame trim here, all of the coal can now still go into this drawer and then be fed back into the furnace. I don't love the fact that we can't see the jumbo furnace because of it, but it does work, and for the time being, that is completely fine. Let's go ahead and run the remainder of the trim all the way around and over to our second draw controller slave. We do need some more frame trim. That is fine. 12 is more than enough. Boom. And then 1, 2, 3. Nice. So now all we need to do is get 4 more storage drawers. 1 for logs, 1 for leaves, 1 for apples, and 1 for sticks. For that, we need 4 chests, which we can do like this. And then from there, we can just surround those chests with some more planks. Boom, boom, and boom. Fantastic. And then if we go and put these over here, we should start to collect all of the stuff from our tree farm. It is, of course, going to take a little while for the tree farm to kind of empty out via the hopper, just because the hopper is not particularly fast. Of course, we can give that a helping hand by moving some of this stuff over manually. We can put in the logs, we can put in the apples, and we can put in the sticks. And it's probably going to be well worth investing into a draw key, which is another option that we can purchase in the quest book here. Back under basic research, we can purchase a locking drawer key for 4 tech books, which I'm going to do, and that's going to allow us to lock these drawers to these specific resources. This is specifically important with coal, because again, if this ever does run out of coal, we don't want anything else going into this drawer, because if anything else makes its way into this drawer, that's going to clog up our whole system and stop our coal going into the jumbo furnace, which is going to stop everything getting made, which is not ideal. Once we've emptied this out, I think the resources are coming in slow enough via the tree absorber that the wooden hopper should be fine. Obviously, when we unlock iron, we can upgrade this to an iron hopper, or we could even look at potentially using an extractor and another hopping conveyor belt to move items down. But I think this should be fine. And so now all of our items are available in kind of this one centralized location, which just makes them easier to work with. So the plan for today's stream is to try and get our first basic Technium ingot and kind of complete the basic tech age, this section of the quest book. Now, to do that, there are a few things we have to do first. First things first, we need some grout dust, which we can get by smelting grout. And if we look forward a little bit here, we're going to need a lot of coal coke going forward. We need coal coke to make the basic and then advanced crafting tables. These are fairly easy to make, but do require a fair bit of coal coke, as you can see. And then looking at the recipe for the basic Technium ingot, this also requires coal coke, and going forward, we're going to need quite a lot of basic Technium. It's used in a lot of the recipes going forward in the pack, and more importantly, it's also used in the creation of the next tier of Technium ingot. The advanced Technium ingot requires basic Technium ingots, and so at some point we're going to have to automate the production of this. Right now, that's not going to be something we can do today, because treated wooden planks are made using creosote oil and planks, and currently we don't have a way of automating the crafting with a liquid, which we will be able to do once we get the bottling machine from Immersive Engineering. But if we look at the recipe for this, it requires iron and redstone and steel, none of which we have access to just yet. But getting ahead of ourselves, the whole idea here is that we're going to need quite a bit of coal coke, which means we're going to need at least one coke oven, and it's possible that Ben has tweaked the recipe here to make the coke oven a little faster than it normally is, but notoriously the coke oven is very, very, very slow. And so it's quite possible we're going to want a few of these. To make a coke oven, you need 27 coke brick. In this pack, the coke brick is made with regular bricks and grout dust. Regular bricks, of course, just clay, and then grout dust, as we saw a second ago, made by smelting grout. The grout you can get from sand, gravel, and clay. So there's a couple of things to note here. One is that you can make a grout miner. The other is that you can also make sand miners, gravel miners, and clay miners. And I kind of think it's probably in our best interest to set all of them up. I think we could do with a sand miner, a gravel miner, a clay miner, and a grout miner. It might seem a little excessive, but I have a feeling that just having those available for the future is going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier. Also, I didn't mention it, but let me get some apples real quick from our new apple drawer, because we are moving very slowly. But I have kind of capped off the end of this platform here. My thought going forward is that I'm kind of going to build a ring of these miners. So instead of building them further out left and right, I've decided to kind of turn the corner here, and now we're going to build more miners going out this way, and obviously that way over on that side as well, and then kind of make like a ring of miners for this section of the base. We might end up moving these, of course, in the future, depending on what automation we need. But yeah, real quick here, we should be able to hopefully get 36 gravel, 36 sand, and 36 clay. It might require a lot of the leaves that we have. Of course, we can use these to make dirt, like so. And we'll do that again, boom, and boom. And then we can craft the dirt into gravel. We want 36 gravel in total. We can then, of course, craft the gravel into sand, and ideally we do want to have 36 sand here as well. We do have a little bit of dirt spare, so let's do 6 more gravel, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more sand. Perfect. And then 36 clay is just going to be another 36 dirt, actually. So if I do this and this, and then this, cool. And then, of course, ideally, also 36 grout. The grout, we do have a little bit of it. We've got 10 already. I'm going to make the miners for these 3 first, and then from there we'll look at getting enough grout to make a grout miner. The grout miner requires tier 3 support frames. The clay requires tier 4 support frames. So actually we can't do clay just yet. Actually, we can't do any of these. Actually, that's not true. We can do all of these, I think, because tier 4 support frames are just copper. And we actually have copper in abundance. We've got over 100 copper over here. And so I'm fairly certain that we should now finally be able to upgrade to the next tier of support frame. I've got to get out of the habit of checking there for sticks. My sticks are now up here. We could also, if we wanted to look at upgrading to a triple compressed cobblestone generator, I do think it's probably unnecessary. I think already we're making more cobblestone than we need. It would be a crazy amount of cobblestone, because right now we're making 1 double compressed cobblestone every, I think it's 6 seconds, or maybe 7 seconds, or something like that. But, and that's effectively 81 cobblestone from a double compressed. Going up to a triple compressed would take us up to 729 cobblestone per block that's generated, which is a huge amount of cobblestone that is probably, like I said, not necessary, but we could do just for the sake of doing it, to be fair. Either way, back over here, let's do this and this, and we're going to need quite a few of these. It's, of course, 32 just for one regular setup, and then it's kind of 19 for every additional miner that we want to make. So we've got the 32 there. We could do with an extra 36. That's going to get us enough to set up 3 miners, 1 for gravel, 1 for sand, and then 1 for clay. And then after that, we can look at getting the remaining 19 for grout once we have the 36 grout available to actually make that happen. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Perfect. 36 there should be enough. And so we should now be able to set up 3 more miners, 1 for sand, 1 for gravel, and 1 for clay. Actually, real quick here, chat, we do now have the ability to unlock the construction ones. These require 8 tech books, which we have been spending quite liberally today, but it also requires a construction wand research paper. This here requires 4 blocks of coal and 4 bronze. That should be fine, though. For 4 bronze, we're going to need to get 3 copper and 1 tin, and just throw all of that into our jumbo furnace. That should produce 4 bronze for us, which for now is just going to sit in the output slot of the jumbo furnace. As far as 4 blocks of coal goes, we do, of course, have more and more coal backing up over time inside of our drawer. So we'll take 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. Fantastic. And, of course, in the last episode, we did also craft up a couple of extra... Hold on. I can't help but notice that didn't work. Did that... What happened there? Oh, no, maybe it's in the hopper, actually, which is not ideal. That's my bad. Let me check down here. It's quite possible that the bronze is kind of just sitting inside of the wooden hopper there, clogging up the whole system, which is not really how I want that to work. Yeah, that is exactly where it is. That's fine. But over here, let's do something. Once we grab our blank research paper, which we did make a bunch of in the last episode, we can then go ahead and craft up the construction wand book, and then we can go ahead and hand that in over here to unlock the building wands. And so now if we go to construction wands, we can make the stone, iron, diamond, and infinity. I did notice earlier that the diamond wand requires a technium ingot, so I think for now, iron is going to be the best that we can do. We could also potentially, for the time being, get away with stone, actually. If we just grab like 1 colored stone out of our chest here, it's quite possible that because we've not got that much of a wide platform, especially around the corner here, we can probably just craft up some more slabs. And then around here, we can now just use this wand to place down 9 slabs at a time. Like this. Nice. And that's going to make building out the base much, much easier going forward. Alright, so once the platform is a little bit bigger, we've thrown down the tier 4 support frames here. I am going to have to replace some of these tier 3 support frames with these tier 4 support frames to make sure that this miner here can actually mine either clay, gravel, or sand. Again, the wands do make this easier as well, because now we can just put down our kind of basic line of sand, gravel, and clay, and then we can use a building wand to make this taller. I have broken the first building wand because, unfortunately, the kind of stone building ones are not particularly durable, which is the one downside to them, really, and is kind of the reason why we should go for the higher tier ones. But back over here, I am probably going to start using storage drawers instead of chests to store all of our resources, just because they hold more items. They're going to let us hold a lot more sand, gravel, and clay than we would be able to if we just threw a regular old chest down on top. So, real quick, let's do something like this to get one more wand. Apparently, it does have to be colored stone, eh? That is completely fine. We've got a fair bit of colored stone. The colored stone that we had here previously, I've just torn down. It is still available in our chest. Again, I am kind of saving that for when we unlock iron and aluminum, so we can get a bunch of those pieces without having to make a ton more colored stone. And again, it's not really worth breaking this until we get that unlocked, because right now we don't need more coal, lapis, copper, or tin. But back over here, we should be able to do 1, 2, 3, as well as 1, 2, 3, and of course 1, 2, 3. Fantastic. And then at that point we can throw down our 3 miners. Boom, boom, and boom, with our 3 storage drawers. Boom, boom, and you guessed it, boom. I will get some more coal blocks as well to cap all of these miners off. And, of course, we're going to build a 4th miner for Grout just as soon as we have enough sand, gravel, and clay to make that happen. And speaking of which, let me quickly replace these tier 3 frames with tier 4 frames to allow us to do this. One thing you can do here that is a little bit more risky, but is definitely going to be faster. If you hold Shift and your Ultimine key, you'll see in the top left that it shows you the different options. And if you scroll down to, I think Small Tunnel should do it. That is going to allow us to, if we face down here, to break all the ones facing down at the same time. And then we can do the same here, as long as we're doing it sideways. And we can break all the ones facing that way at the same time. And then we did lose some frames there, which is not ideal. And then if we had another pickaxe, we'd be able to do this kind of down this way as well. It looks like we can do it without a pickaxe, which is interesting. It does work. Annoyingly, it does break more than just the the thing you're looking at, which is interesting. That's normally not how Ultimine works. I'm not quite sure why it broke the slabs there. I feel like normally it should just break the support frame. But either way, we can then go ahead and replace that, of course, with the tier 4 frame here, and then also we'll get rid of this one as well, and we'll also make a new pickaxe very shortly so that we don't have to keep running around breaking things with our fists. But if we do this and this, it looks like somehow we are missing just one frame. I think I did the same thing last episode where I miscalculated by one. That's fine. Back over here, we have enough copper and enough sticks to make all of this happen. So boom and boom. We'll get one for this, but then we need 19 more for the Grout miner. So we might as well do 21 like that. That should be the perfect amount required to get our gravel miner up and running, like so. And then if we take our structure placer again over here, we should be able to just right click and, of course, ideally build the other frames. Okay, fine. Let me go get a pickaxe and let me fix that. I guess you need to make sure you only have the frames that you actually want to put down, because it looks like if you don't, it starts with the lowest tier of frame, which is an interesting choice. I would have thought it would make more sense for it to start with the highest tier of frame, because that is more likely to be what you're wanting to use. But that's fine. Let's go fix that. Chat is right here that I did also somehow manage to break all of the other miners in doing this, and because we did lose some of these tier 3 frames when I did the breaking, I think I am going to have to go make a few more of those. This one here should be fine like that, and yeah, I just need 3 more tier 2 support frames. I could put a tier 4 support frame there if I wanted to, as kind of a temporary fix, but I think it's probably going to be easier and simpler for the future if we just get a couple more of these tier 3 frames and get those hooked up. 1, 2, 3. Nice. I think that is all of our miners back online. And so now we just need to get a decent amount of grout. So let's take all the gravel, all the sand, and all of the clay that we have here. We obviously have more of everything but gravel because we got the gravel online last, and we could also do with putting some torches down as well. The mobs are not going to spawn, which is great, but it is a little dark around here, and we do have basically unlimited coal now that we can use for that kind of stuff. I think the recipe was something like this with gravel around the outside. Maybe the gravel and sand is swapped there. Let me try this. Perfect. So that gets us 13, which is really not a lot. That is okay, though. I think our best bet here, we do have all of that stuff being created for us, which is good for the longer term. But I think for the time being, using the leaves to kind of accelerate the process is probably our best bet. So if we do this and this, that's going to get us a bunch of dirt, which we can then craft into gravel. And then from there, we can hopefully make a bit more grout. And then that's only 16, eh? We could now, if we wanted to, use some of our saplings to grow even more trees, which I think I will do. Before I do that, though, as I mentioned a second ago, we want to get more coal capstones going as well to allow us to make all of the sand, gravel, and clay faster. So let's get at least, I think, 12 of these. And then let's get those onto the miners to make those faster. And then let's do a little bit of tree farming with our shears to hopefully get some more leaves. All right, there we go, 36 grout. It did take a little bit of kind of manual tree growing and crafting some of these leaves into gravel and dirt, as well as using all of the sand, gravel, and clay that we're getting from our miners over here. But we now have enough grout to get down yet another miner. And this is hopefully going to make our grout production just that little bit easier going forward, and should make getting a decent number of coke ovens even more easy. We could use this grout that we have here to make our first coke oven, but then it would be so much more difficult to get the second one, and so I do think it's worth investing in this grout miner right from the get-go. We do need, of course, as per usual, at least 4 more logs, 1, 2, 3, 4, and at least 1 wooden pickaxe. Boom. And boom. I should probably bulk make these miners because we're going to need a lot of them, I think, going forward. There's just so many more resources that we need to mine. But we can take this, and of course, we do want to make sure we get 1 more storage drawer here for all of that grout. And then, once we got this going, we also do want to get a decent amount of clay smelting as well. One slight cheesy thing you can do here, if you put the resource in right at the end of smelting, you kind of cheat the system out of using all of the fuel, because if you put a stack of clay in here, it starts burning through the fuel like crazy. But if you wait until the very end and put this in just before it finishes, it's super cheesy, but it does complete the craft without you having to spend all of the fuel actually smelting all of the items, which, you know, it does feel like cheating a little bit, but it does work if you're a little tight on fuel, or if you're just super frugal. Either way, all of that brick there is going to be used to make our coke ovens. We do need to craft that into regular brick. And we are going to need quite a bit of it because, again, as I mentioned earlier, I do want to get multiple coke ovens in order to speed up the production of the coal coke. But essentially now, chat, it's just kind of a waiting game for the grout. We can throw down our draw, like so. We've got down the blocks of coal here. We could put down some blocks of copper, potentially, that would be faster, or blocks of tin, but we don't really have that much tin or copper to the point where I don't really think it's worth investing in just yet. Let me check the coke oven recipe again here. So we need 27 coke bricks, which means we need this recipe 9 times. So we need 9 bricks and then 9 lots of 4 lots of grout, so 36 grout per coke oven. 36 grout dust is only 18 grout, actually. So we don't need that much. We already have 4. And of course, we do have more sand, gravel, and clay coming in. And so it really shouldn't take us too long here, I don't think, to get all of the grout required to make our first coke oven. And then from there, we can expand out and build more of them after that. All right, that's 18 grout. That did not take long at all, actually. I did also unblock our jumbo furnace hopper again. I just replaced this slab at the request of somebody in the Twitch chat, and instantly I had to break it again because we had some bricks blocking up the hopper. Either way, let's get these in here. That's going to get us a bunch of grout dust, and with that grout dust, we should now finally be able to make 27 coke brick. Fantastic. And with that, we should now be able to throw down a 3x3 by 3. Also, if your wand is working like this, like it's not working correctly, you just have to shift and scroll and change it to restrictions none. And that should allow it to work as intended again. Fantastic. Once you've got a 3x3x3 cube of coke brick down, you then take the engineer's hammer and right-click in the center on the side you want to form on, and boom, we have a coke oven. And the coke oven is a super simple machine, which Ben has made faster. This is usually much, much slower, so thank you for this, Ben. But it basically does one simple thing, and that is it turns regular coal into coal coke, and then as a byproduct, it produces creosote. You get half a bucket per coal that you transform. The coal coke does have then the added benefit of being just a better fuel source. So regular coal here burns 8 items, coal coke does 16, so it's twice as efficient as regular coal, and considering it's free, we could probably do with at some point in the future looking at kind of replacing our setup here so that all of our coal goes through the coke oven and then goes to the jumbo furnace just for that added level of efficiency. But now that we have some coal coke, we can progress further on in this questline here. Let me claim these rewards, and Ben even gave us extra coal coke and extra grout, which is very nice indeed. We should be able to make our first crafting table, our advanced crafting table, look something like this, I thought. Let me check that real quick. That might not be the recipe. It is not. It requires 2 regular crafting tables and then 7 coal coke, which is exactly what we have. Perfect. So this is pretty nifty in that, actually this is not nifty at all. This is just a regular crafting table. This is kind of useless, but there are 2 things we can do here. The first is that we could upgrade this to an advanced crafting table. The advanced crafting table is capable of crafting recipes that require more items. So it gives us essentially a 5x5 crafting grid, and so you can craft items that require 25 items to craft. Alternatively, what we can also do is we can upgrade our basic crafting table here to a basic auto crafting table, which is going to be super useful for auto crafting in the early game before we get into mods like refined storage or applied energistics. Basically, if we can get 4 hoppers here, which we should definitely be able to do, let me make a couple more chests. In fact, we've got almost 700 oak logs. I'm just going to do something like this. So we've got a bunch of chests for the future, and then we'll take 2 more, actually 1 more of these. Fantastic. And I will do this. The way this works, normally this requires power. However, in this version of the game, Ben has removed the need for power, which is fantastic. So essentially, you can do something like this, where you have 2 chests and the auto crafting table. And basically, you can use this to auto craft. You can save up to 3 recipes in here. We're probably only going to ever use 1 at a time because you can only have 1 active recipe at a time. But essentially, let's say that we wanted to have an auto crafting table that turned our double compressed cobblestone into compressed cobblestone. We could take the compressed cobblestone, double compressed, and then over here, what you want to do, you want to put the recipe into the crafting grid and then shift left click to save the recipe. It's somewhat tricky to do when you have recipes as simple as this because you'll notice it's quite fast. You basically have to shift left click on this button number 1 here before that craft finishes. And so if we do that, I didn't make it, that's fine. Let's do this and this. And then we click this, selected, shift left click. There we go. Okay, cool. So now the recipe is saved. And so now, the way this works, if we go into the chest here, also people are saying we can click on the arrow to disable it. Oh, look at that. You can. Fantastic. Okay, that's actually very helpful. You can turn this off, and that way you don't have to be faster than the crafter. But now, if we put double compressed cobblestone in the top slot, the crafter actually pulls it out of the top chest down into the crafter, and then I was hoping it would push into the bottom crafter there. Unfortunately, it doesn't, but of course, as per usual, we can get a wooden hopper, and then if we just move this forward by one, like so, we can then do this, and that's going to pull the compressed cobblestone out and into here. And so, effectively, we have a way of auto-crafting kind of whatever we want with these basic auto-crafters, and I think the same is also true for the next tier of auto-crafter. I don't believe this requires power either, which is great because we are also going to want to look at automating the basic Technium Ingots at some point in the not-so-distant future, and this is kind of exactly the way that we're going to do it. For now, though, we kind of do need some more coal coke. We do also need to empty this creosote out, though, because if we were to put more coal in here, it doesn't actually work if the tank is backed up on creosote. Thankfully, there is the jerry can here, which is made with 4 ceramic buckets, which seems very doable, actually. I did not mean to make 20 there, but that is fine. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, and boom. I'll put the rest in one of these chests for the time being. I did also throw some torches down as well to make it a little bit brighter in the evening. But once we have these, we can do this. And the regular buckets would work, by the way. You can put these regular buckets in there. You can also just right-click a regular bucket onto the coke oven, and that will pull out a bucket of creosote. But the jerry can here, as mentioned in the quest book, can hold up to 10 buckets of creosote. And so if you put it in the blue slot, it is then going to fill up with all 10 buckets of creosote. And then from there, you can take this jerry can, and if I am not mistaken, we should then be able to craft that as if it were a bucket. So if we get some more planks, we can then do something like this and like this. The normal recipe for treated wood requires a bucket of creosote in there. If you do this craft, it just takes a bucket of creosote out of the jerry can. And so we can craft a full stack of treated planks and then some with the 10 buckets of creosote that were in the jerry can. Nice. And then we can go back over here and we can fill this thing up again, and it's going to keep going until it fills up with that 10,000. Of course, you can take it out whenever you like, but we are going to slowly but surely get more coal coke, which for now we're going to have to use to make yet another one of those tier 1 crafting tables, because we do need to actually get a tier 2 crafting table. And the tier 2 crafting table is 2 tier 1 crafting tables with even more coal coke. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4 of these. We then need 2 of these, and then we have just enough coal coke to make 1 of these. Nice. And that advanced crafting table, which again is also automatable, is now going to be what we use to make our first Technium Ingot. So to make the Technium Ingot down here, it does want us to get creosote. Oh, interesting. So there's also, this is an odd way of doing it, Ben, but we have to actually get a ceramic bucket of creosote to complete the quest. So real quick, let me go and smelt up 1 more bucket here, and then we'll pull out 1 bucket of creosote manually just to complete that quest. That's going to allow us to unlock the quest for treated wooden planks, and then from there we can do the Technium. So let's do this. Fantastic. Hopefully that's a quest complete. It is. It's 2 quests complete. And so I think we should have basically everything we need here. I'm fairly certain you can leave things in this table. You can. And so we need 1 lapis. That's going to go right in the center, like that. And let's get this open in JEI and bookmark that so I can keep checking the recipe. We then need 4 coal coke, which we definitely have. Fantastic. We'll put that in here. We then need 4 treated wood, which we also have, 1, 2, 3, 4, along with 4 blocks of clay, which we also have, 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 4 smooth stone and then 8 bronze. And that's kind of it. Do we have any smooth stone? We totally do. Fantastic. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. And then as for 8 bronze, that is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 copper and 2 tin. If we go throw that into our jumbo furnace over here, boom and boom, that should get us the 8 bronze, and that should be everything to kind of complete the first tier of the quest book, the basic tech tier. Let's go and throw that bronze in over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Boom. Nice. Cool. And of course, we should also have some tier 4 support frames lying around somewhere. We do indeed. Hopefully that completes that quest. Fantastic. We're getting even more tech books. You'll love to see it. And what have we not done here? I think we've done we've not made the auto crafting table, of course. That is doable, actually. I think we might as well do it. The auto-crafting table can also be used as just a regular crafting table, and I do kind of want to get this quest to complete. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4 of those, and then if we pick up our pre-existing table here, we should be able to do 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, and there we go. That is that section of the quest book complete. And so now we should be able to start unlocking things like iron. For that, I believe we need more Technium. Sure, we need 3 more Technium Ingots, along with 4 blocks of bronze, so 36 bronze in total, and another blank research paper. That is probably completely fine. Let me go ahead and take a stack of copper, and then 16 tin, and we'll throw all of that into the jumbo furnace over here. That should get us a decent amount of bronze. And we should also, by the way, look at upgrading our jumbo furnace. It's currently at 53, which is more than enough for what it's currently doing. Obviously, it's not receiving that many items to smelt, but just for the sake of doing it, I feel like we should probably go ahead and get the 64 jumbo furnaces into the jumbo furnace. But now that we have 4 bronze blocks, I shouldn't put those in there. I'm going to forget about them if I do. We've got the 4 bronze blocks. We just need to get 3 more basic Technium, which, for the most part, is kind of more bronze, now that I've put that away, and some lapis. So I think we have what it takes to make another one kind of right away here. We got what it takes to make 2 more of these right away here. And what are we missing for that 4th one? Just 4 coal coke. That is perfect. Coal coke we have, and over in here is where I want to do it. Boom. And boom. Good stuff. And so I think, chat, we should be good to go on unlocking iron and aluminum. We'll take 1 blank research paper. We'll craft up the required book here, which I think was like this. Nope, it is again like this. Fantastic. And boom. Nice. So now we should be able to get iron fragments and aluminum fragments from our light gray colored stone. Let's put that down. Let's do something like this. We totally do. Look at that. We're getting so much stuff from here. And before, I was a little confused as to why you'd ever want to turn off certain resources, but I kind of think at this point in time, I do want to turn off everything that's not iron and aluminum, because while the coal and lapis isn't too bad, like we can get more coal and lapis, so you can just craft it down into coal and lapis and put it in the drawers, getting the copper and tin is kind of not ideal, because we then have to craft it with stone to make copper and tin ore, and then we have to put it in the furnace, and it's just a whole thing that is probably more effort than it's worth. So I'm going to disable copper and tin for the time being, and let's go throw down just a ton of this light gray colored stone. Speaking of which, we should have a fairly decent amount of it now backed up in the light gray colored stone chest. Look at that, we got so much of it. Fantastic. I don't know if we're going to be able to break all of that, but over here, let's use our... Well, we don't have a building wand, actually, because it's broke, but we can get another building wand. I would love to get a diamond building wand, which does require 1 Technium Ingot, although that might be doable. Then again, the bronze one's probably a more economical version for the time being. It's got more durability than the cobblestone one, and can place down more blocks as well. So let's do something like this. Just put down a ton of stone. We got so much of it. There we go, it's gone. We didn't even get through anywhere near enough of it. Our inventory is going to be so full of junk here, but that's fine. And I probably should have just not... I probably should have turned off the coal and lapis as well. It's probably not worth it. It is useful. It's nice to get, but we are getting them... Like, they're coming in faster than we're using them, so it's probably not useful either. That's fine. And we do want to make sure, actually, probably before we break too many more of these, that we get some stone as well, because much like with the copper and the tin, if we want to be able to actually turn the aluminum and the iron into anything usable, we do first have to craft them into iron ore and aluminum ore via the standard crafting method. So what we should probably do here is, first of all, throw down a second double chest to give us a bit more space. Fantastic. Free up some space to pick up these guys. Quickly smelt up a bunch of cobblestone into stone, and then, of course, the main idea here is going to be to use the iron ore and aluminum ore to make automatic miners for both of those, right? So we're getting more support frame and at the very least 36 of each. That is completely fine. Let me take some of the cobble that we have here. Double compressed is not ideal. Single compressed is more ideal. We've got so much of it. It's almost too much. That's fine. over in here, again, we can slightly cheese it if we wait till the very last second and then throw in a stack of cobblestone. That's going to get us a ton of stone, which is fantastic. And we can do the same thing here one more time if we just wait for this to finish. We can throw in the full stack right at the end there and get a bunch of stone without having to pay the full fuel price for it. And then let's do this and this. There's a stack of iron ore, and then we'll do the same again here with aluminum. There is 40 aluminum ore. And so before I do any more prospecting, I'm going to go and get more of these tier 4 frames. We need, I guess, 36 more of these, so just a bunch of copper and sticks, which is kind of hard to do given that my storage drawers are now hidden behind this this wall of colored stone. Copper is all we need, though, so let's take just a bunch of that copper out of there. Oh, no, I do need sticks as well. My sticks are up here? Yes. Fantastic. Let's take a few stacks of those, and then can I get, like, 36 of these? I can. Nice, cool. So let's go set up the iron and aluminum miners. All right, so we've got iron and aluminum down on their own miners over here, so we're making both of those. Fantastic. In just a second here, we will get some more extracting conveyor belts, and we'll basically just run these, I think, from here round along the outside. I put them on this side for that very reason. We could have gone and continued to extend on their side, but then we'd have to run an even longer conveyor belt from kind of right over there all the way along and then round the corner to the jumbo furnace, whereas here, we can just go the short distance around this corner to the jumbo furnace. Obviously, once it gets into the jumbo furnace, it's then going to smelt into aluminum and iron, and in order for us to actually store that, we're going to want to get, you guessed it, 2 more storage drawers and throw those down. So we do have more colored stone, but I really don't think it's going to be worth using it here. I did smelt up like a few more stacks of cobblestone into regular stone, and we crafted some more ores, but it's just going to be so much work breaking all of this with the Prospector's pickaxe and then getting so much stone to then craft it down. Someone in the Twitch chat did point out that you can in fact make a regular stone miner, which I do think is something we should definitely do. But I think for the time being, until we get a decent backlog of stone, I don't think it's going to be worth breaking this light gray colored stone with the Prospector's pick. So instead, I think as inefficient as it is to place it down by using a wand and then pick it up using a pickaxe, breaking both in the process, I think we'll just have to pick it back up to free up some space again here. I think the iron and the aluminum are probably going to be coming in fast enough. Again, we should cap those off. It could be possibly worth it. What's the speed on the coal blocks? The coal block speed is 150 ticks, whereas if we replace the caps with bronze, it goes down to 120 ticks. I don't know if it's worth it. It's definitely faster, but we don't have that much copper left. We do have some in our inventory, but we've used a lot of our copper. I don't think it's worth it upgrading it. I think for the time being, using coal blocks is probably our best bet in terms of the just all of the miners for the time being. I think we can upgrade those in the future once we get more of any given resource, but for right now, I think we want to just get 6 more of these and use those to upgrade our miners, and then we'll run the belts around the corner and get those connected up to the jumbo furnace. All right, so we've got the same conveyor belt down. It goes all the way along to the corner and then turns. There's no like corner conveyor belt, but you can just push one into the other and that works just fine, kind of like what we've done over in the center. We kind of just push towards one that goes in the middle there. And so now, just like before, we're going to do this and rotate, and then over here, same thing, this and rotate. And now we have iron and aluminum automated. Those are going to make their way around through the system into the jumbo furnace, and they'll get smelted around into the storage drawers. Real quick here, before we wrap up for today, I do want to get a few more jumbo furnaces, because we've been sitting at like 55 jumbo furnaces or 53 jumbo furnaces in our jumbo furnace for a while now, and we should probably just fix it. You know, let's get the remaining jumbo furnaces required to make it to 64. Again, it's not strictly necessary, but there's no reason not to at this point in time. So let's do both of these like so, and then let's get those smelted up, and let's see if we can make this as fast as it is humanly possible for us to make it. And now that we have iron as well, we have finally unlocked real hoppers as well. So we could look at actually using a real hopper here to make this just that little bit faster. That's going to get us a little bit further there. We're going to need so much more. I always forget how much cobblestone this takes. It takes so much cobblestone. Let me go and quickly grab some more. It is getting a little awkward to get up here now because of the way I've put down these belts. So I could definitely do with trying to find like an alternate path up. I'm kind of thinking about moving the center miner, which I think is cobblestone. It is. I'm kind of thinking of moving this and having this be hollow so I can kind of walk into the center here. And then if I build like a little platform in the middle here, we could then use that for something else and kind of just have like little gateways that allow us to walk in. Either way, let me take 38 double compressed cobblestone. That's going to be more than enough. And then over here, that's going to craft down into just a staggering amount of single compressed cobblestone. And then that should be just an ungodly number of furnaces. Yeah, perfect. Okay, let's get those into here. And of course, let's make sure that you're not blocking things up in there either. That would be fantastic. That is probably enough jumbo furnaces. Oh, it's not quite enough jumbo furnaces. That's fine. We've got so many more furnaces ready to go. We're almost certainly not going to need all of these. And also, again, there's one blocking things up down here. That is fine. Perfect. Okay, cool. Right, we got too many, but that's fine. It's possible we might need more jumbo furnaces in the future if we want to set up another jumbo furnace somewhere else, if this one ends up somehow not being fast enough to keep up with things. But this is now maximum speed, can smelt, I believe, 65 items at a time because it's 1 plus the number of jumbo furnaces. So it should be able to do just like over a stack of items at a time, which is a little wild, but should work as intended. I see one of our pieces of lapis seems to have overshot itself just a little bit there for some reason. That's not ideal. Hopefully that doesn't happen regularly. But there we go. Cool. So next time, chat, I think we'll come back and we will begin working on the advanced tech quest line. We've already done a few of these quests, actually. We'll go ahead and claim our rewards for that. We're going to start upgrading some of our stuff now that we have iron. You know, we can get some iron hoppers down and all that good stuff. We can make iron blocks and aluminum blocks. The aluminum blocks are actually pretty good caps. They take us down to 5 seconds. So once we get enough aluminum to make 4 aluminum blocks, we could potentially do with using those 4 aluminum blocks to make aluminum faster, and then, you know, from there use the aluminum to make everything faster than it currently is. But I think our next big goal is going to be getting steel, which we can do via a blast furnace, and then from there we can also look at moving on into redstone. There's a redstone book, which you guessed it, requires steel and basic technium ingots. We do also have the option, I think, to unlock trash cans, which includes, I believe, fluid trash cans over here, because one big bottleneck for us over here is going to be creosote. Creosote's backing up, and right now the only thing we can do with creosote is use it to make treated wood. And I don't think we're going to need that much treated wood. You'll see already we've got way more treated wood than we need to make the technium ingots. So I think at some point we're going to have to just start kind of deleting any excess creosote oil to keep the coal coke production going, because we need a lot more coal coke than we do creosote. That is frame to trim. I keep making that same mistake. I should really put this like somewhere. You know, I'm just gonna get rid of it. I'm gonna get rid of it. It's cheap enough to make, and it keeps causing me issues. I'm just gonna throw it away for the time being. That's fine. And then let's do this as well. Perfect. So yeah, we need to get rid of the excess creosote to make more coal coke to automate the production of technium at some point in the near future. Next time we'll come back, we'll unlock iron, we'll unlock steel, and we'll unlock redstone, and then hopefully we'll take a look at this little logistics mod, which I'm hopeful is going to make it a little bit easier. I've never played with this mod before, but I'm hopeful it's going to make it a little easier for us to move items around, for us to move fluids around, and for us to maybe start auto-crafting some of the stuff that we've already unlocked. And in the not-so-distant future, things like the bottling machine are going to allow us to automate the production of creosote, which then allows us to automate the technium ingots, and if we can get the crusher, we can actually start getting even more efficiency out of all of our ores. As we saw before, it's going to be a 1-to-1 as opposed to right now, where it's a 4-to-1, which makes it just a huge increase in efficiency going for something like the jumbo furnace. So yeah, those are things we got to look forward to, and of course, our main goal is going to be working towards advanced technium, because once we have advanced technium, we actually unlock quite a lot of stuff, including the simple storage network mod, which is right here, which again is going to make our storage situation much easier to deal with. But that's all for Future Isaac to deal with. For now, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this episode of Techopolis 2 there.